sorry to keep you waiting. I've carried out the treatment as per Master Matoya's instructions. It should slow the destabilization of their corporeal ether quite significantly. But tell me, how fare our friends in the first?
So this Becklug's the first to lead an authority on soulcraft, are they? Sounds promising.
And Urianger's proffered solution of white auracite is rather ingenious now that I think of it. Well, while they press on with their preparations, you may rest assured we will continue to do our part here.
Oh, you're back. And none the worse for wear, I see.
Estinian! Oh, thank the gods! We've been worried sick. Did you lose your link pearl or something?
The situation in Garlemald has become more complicated. I was making my escape from the capital when I ran into one of yours, Riol. He thought it best we come straight here.
More complicated how?
Where to begin? After entering the Empire via Razat Han, I went about my mission of investigating Black Rose. It was then, inside a provincial factory, that I encountered the one who styles himself Shadow Hunter, Gaius Baelsar. Our goals being apparently aligned, we joined forces and ventured on into the heart of the capital, to the very Imperial Palace itself. There, we found a man whom all assumed dead. But his soul lives on, and he has wrested back his flesh. Xenos Ye Galvas. Nor did the surprises end there, for no sooner had we arrived than he murdered his sire in cold blood. The Emperor is dead. This sent Gaius into a rage, and he charged in, blade drawn. What's wrong?
all right?
Peer into my past, did you?
Well, I didn't quite relive the experience as you did, but I bore witness to it all.
I'm still not sure what I think of this gift of yours, but no matter. Our confrontation was cut short when the Imperial Guard arrived. It was then that Xenos took his leave, citing boredom.
To think their research into the Echo could bear such fruit. Escaping death, jumping from one body to the next, and returning to his own after all this time. He is an Ascian in all but name.
It beggars belief, aye. But no more than a hero traversing the rift between worlds. My concerns are far more prosaic. With the Emperor dead and the Crown Prince missing, the Empire is in disarray. Until order is restored, assuming it even possible, we needn't fear an Imperial reprisal. And for reasons of his own, Xenos took it upon himself to rid the world of Black Rose. Riol has already gone to apprise the Alliance leaders of these developments. We may leave the matter in their hands for now.
Then perhaps we have seen the last of the fighting at Gimlet. Though, if it comes to civil war, I cannot help but fear for the provinces. Ah, I'd nearly forgotten to ask. What became of Gaius? Did he not escape with you?
That he did, but we parted ways shortly after leaving Garlemald. He claimed another threat had arisen which demanded his attention. He didn't elaborate, but the absence of some device or other in the capital gave him reason to believe they're planning something. Lest you worry, I believe he has well and truly shed the Black Wolf's pelt. Conquest is no longer his objective. We may safely leave him to his own devices.
Well, it's nice to have one less foe to worry about, even if we do have a mysterious new threat to look out for instead. Speaking of which, I'll see that Riol and Al Shinobi are made aware. Though we still know next to nothing, it can't hurt to be vigilant.
Well then, with Black Rose nipped in the bud, I believe I've fulfilled my part of the bargain.
That's true, but with the Archon still slumbering away, we were hoping you might agree to stay with us for a little bit longer.
Sorry, but I'm not inclined to extend my contract. Gaius isn't the only one with business to attend to.
Thank you for your help then, Estinian. I see why Alphino admires you so.
Farewell, my friend. See that you don't make a habit of dozing off in battle.
I suppose we should all be getting on then. As ever, we will see to the Archon's needs. In the meantime, why not get some rest? You've more than earned it. Go on.
They're here, Commander.
And I, for one, am grateful that they are. Told you've been busy since our paths last crossed at the Gimlet Dark. Not that I understand half of it. When the Scions spoke of other worlds, I'd struggled to describe what I pictured. Mayhap things would seem clearer were I to hear the tale from your own lips. But I'm afraid the situation will not afford us that luxury. I trust you two require no introduction.
We meet again, hero of Eorzea. Must we repeat this ridiculous display? I pose no threat to you, though what I come to warn you of very well might.
Had he meant to do us harm, I hazard he would have kept to the shadows, and brought more than 2 companions. We need not pretend to be the best of friends, but I hope we can put aside our differences for the present.
As you are doubtless aware, Sir Estinian and I cooperated to rid the world of Black Rose in your absence. Our journey together took us as far as the Imperial Palace, where we witnessed Emperor Varus meet his death at Xenos' hand. Being the sole witnesses to this crime, and in no position to defend our innocence, we were then forced to flee, each pursuing his own avenue of escape. When we were later reunited, Estinian claimed to have encountered an unfamiliar kind of machina during his flight, but to me his description seemed anything but, and upon further investigation I found that I was right. The Empire is developing a new Ultima weapon.
What, that Allagan monstrosity, created to vanquish primals, with which you yourself once thought to conquer Eorzea?
The same. In my foolishness, I sought to harness its power, and became the Ascian's pawn in so doing. But you know as well as I how that tale ended. The weapon itself, excavated from beneath this very city, was destroyed ere we could fully unravel its secrets, and that should have been the end of it. But unlikely as it sounds, the Empire's efforts to recreate it have somehow borne fruit, primarily through secret research conducted by the 7th Imperial Legion, it would seem.
Wait, the 7th was all but annihilated at Cartano, along with its legatus.
Indeed, few survived. The 7th, as it is now, has little in common with the Legion led by Vandarnus, and its leadership has changed hands several times since. Precisely how this project has continued despite such turmoil, and under whose auspices, remains a mystery. What we do know, however, is that a number of prototypes have been produced, and that one of them is on its way to Eorzea. We attempted to stop it, but it was all we could do to slow its progress, so we resolved instead to bring you warning.
And right glad are we that you did, though it soundly dashed our hopes that tensions might ease at last.
As it is, we've begun to strengthen our presence in the Gimlet Dark, and are assembling a force to meet the coming threat. A force with you in its vanguard, I hope. Before you say anything, I know full well you have pressing concerns of your own. Your comrades remain in peril, and I would not ask you to forsake them. But the fact remains that you, and you alone, have faced the Ultima weapon, and emerged victorious. We need you. And so, when the time comes, if your comrades can spare you, I bid you lend us your strength. I've assigned an officer to await your word.
The Ascian's downfall was to be the work of my remaining days. But it was my hand that kindled these flames, and I cannot allow them to spread any further. I will do what I must to see this mistake consigned to history once and for all, even if it means begging your aid. The Fates will enjoy the irony, even as I endure the ignominy.
I too shall make for the border and offer my skills, meager though they seem in such company. Mayhap we shall meet there anon.
Though we can ill afford to ignore the coming of a new Ultima weapon, our friends' plight grows ever more precarious, and none save you can join them in the first. I only hope you are not forced to make a choice.
Now that we are all here, what news from the source?
A new Ultima weapon? We must count ourselves lucky that Gaius has pledged his assistance.
While this is indeed a worrying development, I think the state of the Empire as a whole greater grounds for concern. With the Emperor slain and Xenos returned, it is impossible to predict how matters will unfold in Garlemald. The Ultima weapon may be but the first of many unpleasant surprises.
The situation beareth closer observation, of that there is no doubt, and doth compound our need to return unto the source.
Then let us address that issue. Our long search for a means to see you safely home may well be nearing its conclusion. Thanks in large part to Urianger and Becklug's invaluable insight, we have succeeded in fashioning a vessel for the journey.
We set out to create a crystalline container retaining the more useful properties of white aurosite, but without its regrettable limitations. And after a good deal of trial and error, we made one. An ark for soul and mind both that will allow your incorporeal self in its entirety to be ferried between worlds. A spirit vessel, if you will. However,
However,
though the vessel is possessed of the requisite qualities to hold mind and memory, it wanteth yet for a means to receive of them. For that, we must needs imbue it with the Exarch's innate gift.
A gift that lives on only through the blood of the Allegan Emperors, which certainly does not flow within auracite or any other crystal.
Just so, milady. The blood serveth as a conduit of sorts. In its absence, memory cannot pass from mind unto mind, nor from flesh unto crystal.
That being the case, we must either alter the process of inheritance so as to require no such thing, or determine a means by which my blood may permeate the vessel. I am hopeful that the records found within this tower will yield the knowledge we require to pursue one or the other of these avenues.
As well you should be. The Allegan's body of etherological research is extraordinary. I can scarce believe it the work of ages past. But its underlying principles are not so very different from those of my own field of study. Given time, we will find the answers we seek.
I know that you can ill afford to wait, and it pains me that I must ask you to do so. I can only reaffirm my promise to you that a solution will be found. Whatever it takes, I will see you safely home.
My apologies.
I do hope you haven't come to tell us that mortal peril fast approaches.
No. I had hoped to speak with the Warrior of Darkness. But there is no need to cut short your meeting on my account. I will be waiting outside.
Why not speak in here? She knows I don't mind. Unless she didn't want to.
perhaps I might accompany you. Though I am woefully ill-qualified to assist in the Exarch's research, I may yet be of some use to Lena.
Did you slay this Eater? Your orders were to await the main force before engaging.
No, Captain. It wasn't us, I swear it. A man came out of nowhere and cut it down before we knew what was happening.
By himself? Certainly it is no Light Warden, but nevertheless.
It's true. Felled it with a single swing of his axe, he did. I've never seen anything like it. So I says to him, "Who are you, the warrior of bleeding darkness?" And he says, "No, I'm a warrior of light." And that was it. Buggered off as quick as he came.
A warrior of light?
Why would someone go around calling himself that, though? It was those bastards who caused the flood. I mean, if you were going to pretend to be anyone, it'd be her. The Warrior of Darkness.
Eh? Oh, I didn't know. It's an honor.
Since the Eater is no longer a threat, our work here is done. Return to your posts.
I had hoped to fight at your side today. But I'll continue to follow your example, and may we meet again.
I apologize for the wasted journey. It seems I overestimated the threat. As for this Warrior of Light, I do not know who would be brazen enough to take that mantle for his own. Whatever it may once have meant, it is forever tainted by the association with the Flood. The Exarch told me the truth of Ardbert and his comrades' deeds, and I am aware they played some part in your own triumph. But to most, they are synonymous with the calamity that befell this world. Still, if this man is minded to destroy Sin Eaters, I may forgive him his unfortunate choice of alias. But that is neither here nor there. I thank you for accompanying me.
With that concluded, shall we return to the Crystarium? There is a proposal I should like to make.
Forgive me. There is one more thing. A personal concern of mine. I had hoped you might have a moment to speak privately.
Take your time. I shall go on ahead.
I will not mince words. This matter concerns the Exarch. Though his countenance belies his age, his demeanor never has. He has seen more than any man should and grown ever more weary with time. But I see I give the wrong impression. While it is true he attempted to open a letter with a salmon fillet the other evening, we are not here because I suspect his mind is deteriorating. Nor do I believe him to be so maddeningly unconcerned by the prospect of his own death as he once was. Indeed, the opposite is true. It is for this reason that I seek your advice. Since he returned from the Tempest, the Exarch is not as he was. He seems a different man. A younger man. I know not the details of his research, but when I saw him at work recently, there was a glint in his eye that I had never seen before. He looked happy. It was as if he had peered into the future and for the first time found joy there. Though it gladdens me to see him thus, I wonder if I should not keep my distance. I fear that my presence will only anchor him to the past. Remind him of all the pain that came before. Is that so? Then perhaps we might remain as we were. As we have always been. What a relief. In that case, I will have to speak with him about the amount of time he is spending at work. This research is important, I know, but if he refuses to consider his own health, I will have to consider it for him.
Yes, this looks to be nearly everyone. Let us begin, shall we? Though I am usually the first to hold forth at such events, I think on this occasion that honor should fall to you.
They would be more inclined to take the word of the Warrior of Darkness.
Indeed. In light of the subject matter, who better than thee to speak these truths?
Wicked White? The Warriors of Light did all that?
So they never... I mean, they only ever wanted to help. And when everything they'd done turned to ash, they still carried on.
They gave everything to stop the flood. First their lives, then their souls. And they managed it too, in the end. They saved us. And we cursed their names.
This should go a long way towards clearing the air. Impossible. I definitely see something. You don't think it's a ghost, do you?
Nay. Yonder standeth no bloodless apparition, but a warrior of light and darkness both. Ardbert.
What in the world?
It's you! The one who slew the Eater!
That it should be the Warrior of Darkness who brought the truth to light. You've saved me a fair bit of time, though I have a few words of my own to say, if I may. People of the Crystarium, I am Ardbert, one of those you know as a Warrior of Light.
That's impossible. You should be dead.
Aye, that I should. But as the world has been given new life, so too have I. I know not why I, and I alone, have been gifted this chance. But I do know this. Only by the will of the star itself could such a miracle come to pass. The hero who stands before you now, the Warrior of Darkness, is not of this world. And the day will come when she must return to her home. But this land is our home. And if it is to remain so, now and forevermore, it is we who must protect it. The time to rely on saviors from afar has passed. It is you who must rise. You who must become the new warriors of light!
What? Us? Warriors of light?
None of us were born heroes, my friend. I was only ever a man with a thirst for adventure. But wherever my journeys took me, I was invariably confronted with the same choice. To lend what aid I could to those in need, or not. And I always chose the former. Any one of you could do the same. All you need is the will to help your fellow man, and the resolve to see it through.
From thine own lips did we learn of Ardbert's fate, and by thy countenance I gather thou art not inclined to recant thy testimony. Yet whosoever this man may be, his words hold truth and resonate with the citizenry besides. For us to voice our doubts here and now would serve but to sow disquiet. 'Twere better we retired unto the ocular and there discuss this matter in private.
Go. I will stay here and watch.
So, that is a warrior of light of the first. I've not had the pleasure of making his acquaintance, but as you all seem to be in agreement, I gather this is no simple case of mistaken identity.
As far as I was able to discern, that was indeed Ardbert. It has been a long time, but not that long. Could he truly have been resurrected as he claims?
Ardbert did entrust his very soul unto thee. I see no reason to question thy judgment.
Nor I. To my eyes, your ether burns as brightly as the day you slew Emmett Selk. That is proof that he is with you still.
Yet that which standeth now before the people is far more than a passing imitation. I am reminded of the cardinal virtues, though a sin-eater he is not. Which leaveth but one plausible explanation.
That he is an Ascian.
Given their fondness for posthumous possession, I would have to agree. From what I understand, the Warriors of Light were laid to rest in Yulmore by those whom they had aided in life. At the time, some few still remembered them as heroes. Needless to say, 4 of them were subsequently exhumed to serve as the virtues. And if one knew where to look, Ardbert too would not have been difficult to find.
Assuming then that this is indeed the work of an Ascian, my mind inevitably turns to the last remaining paragon to survive the Sundering.
Elidibus. That Xenos hath reclaimed his own flesh is known. Thus evicted from his borrowed form and cognizant no doubt of Emet-Selk's failure here in the First, 'tis quite possible the emissary chose Ardbert for his next vessel.
Inhabiting the flesh of the fallen. My, that is unsavory. And they do this often, you say?
Verily, for they possess no corporeal forms of their own. In what one may term their natural state, none save those gifted with the echo can perceive them. Indeed, when Elidibus intruded upon the waking sands, his presence did go unmarked by all save Minfilia and the Warrior of Light. On that occasion, I myself remained ignorant of his coming until after his departure. 'Twas only at a later juncture, when he deigned to appear before me in borrowed flesh, that I was finally able to take the measure of him. In such puppetry do the Ascians engage when they seek to influence the course of history.
And they have gained much by it. Emet-Selk single-handedly built the Garlean Empire in this manner, while La Hebrea came close to conquering Eorzea, having taken possession of Thancred's living body.
Yet it must needs be noted that the Ascians cannot avail themselves of all mortal vessels. For were they able to do so, none would serve as a better pawn than our own redoubtable champion. Mayhap the blessing of light shieldeth Hydaelyn's chosen from Ascian influence. Or mayhap other forces are at work. We cannot say for certain.
Whatever the reason, I hope it holds true. I dare not contemplate what might come to pass otherwise.
Is it not peculiar, then, that Ardbert's mortal remains should be susceptible, given that he was once a warrior of light? Or did the final departure of his soul make it possible, perhaps? Regardless, to hear an Ascian use him to call forth new warriors of light boggles the mind.
Elidibus hath ever been an enigma, his ostensible purpose being to preserve the balance between light and dark. When he made overtures towards me, however, I was afforded a glimpse behind the mask of the self-appointed emissary. I shall not defend mine actions, undertaken in pursuit of a better understanding of our foe as either wise or prudent. Nevertheless, what little I did glean may now prove useful. Elidibus possesseth a subtle mind, practiced in the art of manipulation. That he coaxed this star's most valiant heroes as far as the source with naught save half-truths is no trifling feat. And now I believe he doth employ his skills once more to some as yet unknown end. Though naught is certain, should my suspicions prove true, we shall have need of all our wits if we are to uncover and thereafter thwart his plot.
Agreed. 'Tis plain that simply speaking out against him will not avail us. At best, it would only serve to confuse the people. And I would hesitate to do anything which might tarnish Ardbert's reputation once more, nor yours by association. That being the case, it may be wise to keep a covert eye on this Ardbert's movements, as we attempt to discern his purpose and how best to mitigate his influence.
His performance appears to have concluded. What now? Go back out and follow him?
'Twould appear Master Alphino already hath pursuit in mind, and I suspect one pair of eyes shall better serve our cause than half a dozen. Let the rest of us maintain an inconspicuous distance, for the present at least.